and welcome to another episode of Have You Seen My Film, a Kinema podcast. And we are here at the Bridge Summit in Abu Dhabi. Thank you to Bridge for allowing us to have this studio. And we got a quick amount of time, and we're going to have a few people pop in, and we're going to edit together some feedback from friends that are here at the summit. And first, I was lucky enough to snag this gentleman by the name of Joe Marchese to be the first person on this podcast. So, Joe, in addition to being my incredible husband and the founder and chairman of Human Ventures, who are you and what are you doing here?
Hi. Well, I'm honored, just honored to be here with you. I've seen your podcast, longtime listener, first time caller.
What?
Like, I can't believe I can't believe I haven't been invited on before. But yes, we're here at Bridge, and so if we're at a media summit, I'm probably talking about the attention economy.
And okay, so you were talking about the attention economy. What is the attention economy?
Attention economy is the idea that there's 24 hours in a day and there's more content, more shows, more reels, more TikToks than we can watch. So how are we deciding what gets our time and attention?
And how do we decide that?
Well, funny, there are some people who actually decide what they're doing with their time and attention, but the rest of it we leave up to the algorithm. And that's the bigger and bigger question these days.
You're saying this as we sit across from the Explore by Instagram stage at the Bridge Summit, where we have content creators sharing their stories about how they're trying to capture that attention. So what's the push and pull between the creators making content that they feel is authentic to them and then the algorithm trying to push things to get you to watch?
Well, I think you kind of said it there. Are the creators making things for their audience, or are the creators making things for the algorithm? Like, at what point did we start making content to please an algorithm so that it would show up and show it to other people? Like, we have gotten to this point where, when you buy a movie ticket to go to a movie, like, you've chose to watch that movie. When you press play, even on demand, you chose to play that movie. But when something just pops up in an algorithm, how it got to you, you don't know. And like, this idea of like what is entering our minds and what is shaping our opinions of the world is actually being delivered to us, not us choosing it, is a big deal. And I think it's a bigger deal than we've given credit to for the last 20 years.
Yeah. Well, we hear, coming from the film world, we hear consumers and audiences somewhat complain that they can't decide what to watch. They're flipping, their channel flipping through their apps, and they spend, 17 minutes deciding on something, and ultimately 7 years.
I don't think we've picked anything to watch together in 7 years.
Oh, really? It's been that long?
All we do, we just flip on Apple, we flip on Netflix, and we just kind of go through everything, but we don't really get to pick anything. And that's actually a kind of a sport.
Well, I was gonna say, actually, that's people complain that they can't find exactly what they want, and so now you have the algorithm that's forcing things on you in a way. So I can understand why people lean on social media. They don't have to choose.
Yeah, but that's kind of, there's a little bit of can I say bullshit on your podcast?
You can say anything on this podcast.
Great.
However, we are in the UAE.
There's a little bit of BS to that, in that, like, we imagine there's everything in the world to watch, every movie of all time, every show of all time, and like, we're trying to find the thing that's perfect for us, but not really. We just want to watch something that's like interesting and moves us, and even more important, we want to watch something that our friends have watched, that our family have watched, that other people. We want shared narratives. Like, kids used to, like, I remember in 2007, 8, 9, 10, people were like, oh, these kids don't like television. They like YouTube. They like these short clips. That's what kids like. They like straight to camera YouTubers. They like authentic. You know what they're all watching right now? Those exact kids these days? They're watching Grey's Anatomy and Suits and Seinfeld and Friends. So there are universal truths to what people want in stories, and they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be shared. And I think, like, we've talked about this a bunch. When you go to a film festival, you watch a movie that you would have never watched at home. You would have never pressed play on Netflix, and then you're changed. You remember it forever. I mean, that's what people are looking for.
I think also we're so used to getting content for free now, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you're watching things on social, you're being told what to watch, it's being picked for you, and it's free. Suddenly, when you have to decide to spend your time or spend your money, it becomes a bigger decision, and then you feel like it has to be perfect or it has to be good.
Yeah.
And you get paralyzed by it.
Right.
I think this is something that we struggle with, where we're asking people to pay for content. We're asking people to pay to watch a movie, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be your favorite thing, but should be something you can discuss with someone.
Right.
So now, if it's not a perfect film, then you loved it entirely, and you can't discuss it with anyone else because no one else has watched it.
Right.
It feels like a bigger decision to how to spend your time and money.
And you feel like you've sunk the time. Like, if I watch something, and even if it's not great, and these movies will go unnamed, but we've seen plenty of movies that were like, oh, what was that? But we all talked about it. It was like a shared experience, right? Like, oh, what did I just watch? But at least we get to talk about it. If you do that and you don't even have that, I mean, there isn't something there. So there's something about the leisure activity of watching stories together, or at least watching stories other people have, so that we can participate with. The purpose of watching these is to improve our humanity and improve our connection with other humans. Otherwise, like, we're just kind of, it's kind of the Wall-E future of let's just like let the machines generate stuff for us.
Yes, Wall-E was ahead of its time when we saw it. I think we're getting to that place where we're all just sitting back in our reclining chairs, having stuff presented to us.
What Wall-E did not predict, though, is GLPs.
That is true. That is true.
If you look at the Wall-E future, there is no Ozempic in that one.
Yep. Okay, so give me your last thoughts before our next guest comes on about Bridge. What are you seeing here? What should people know about what's happening here in Abu Dhabi?
This is amazing. So this is the first year Bridge is on, and I've never seen the scale and scope of what they've pulled together, and the quality of the speakers and the discussions, and like, you'll have to look out at the floor. I'm sure there'll be clips of it. I will definitely be back next year, and so thanks for having me.
Cool. Well, thanks so much.
Bye.
Okay, and now I am here with Liv Stone, who, funnily enough, we just met at the hotel we're both staying at. We both were brought here by the summit to speak. Your panel was on Monday, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so tell me, you're a content creator, you're an activist, you're, for what I saw, also a big athlete and surfer. So tell me, what's your content about? What brought you here, and what did you speak about?
Yeah, my content is really centered around disability advocacy without talking about my disability all the time. I show what I do in terms of like fitness. I'm an athlete, and cooking, and really just how I live my day-to-day life with that element of disability advocacy without like that quote pity narrative, like, oh, pity me, whatnot. It's more like, no, like, I have a disability, but that's not going to hold me back from being active, eating well, and just an overall wellness approach to content. I think I started because I was kind of tired of seeing the narrative around people with disabilities as pity, like I said, or like, oh, you're so inspirational for going to the grocery store or just something so simple. So when I started creating content, I just thought, maybe I could inspire a few people here or there to love their body a little bit more. And that's what I talked about in my speech, is just about how I didn't start creating content to become a movement, because my overall point of my speech was how messengers become the movement. And I wasn't like, I'm going to get this movement of people behind me. I just started posting like my everyday routine of surfing, and how like, maybe it could just inspire someone to get out there and get on a surfboard, or to run, or eat a good healthy meal. So I wasn't really thinking it would get me to Abu Dhabi. Like, I actually can't believe I'm here right now.
It's kind of amazing. Same, my first time.
It's incredible. Right. I walking around and just seeing like the city and just this insane event, just the scale of it. I just would have never thought like posting a few videos here and there would have like exploded and catapulted me into where I am today.
Well, it means you're saying something that's resonating with people. Like, you're starting from one perspective, but you have like whatever you're saying is universal. Anyone can relate to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Accepting a challenge. Well, except for surfing, it's the only class I failed in college, so I probably won't be able to do the surfing part. But it's connecting with people, and I think the conference is called Bridge. The idea of bridging cultures. And bridging through storytelling. I think most of the content I've been watching here has been around film and entertainment and breaking into the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, for you, when did you start? When did you start building your following?
Gosh, I started posting probably like 4 years ago. Okay. And then like within the past 2 years is when I really started to do more like paid partnerships, and where I started to really put a lot of time into it and make it a career, because I'm like, okay, like once I started getting reached out to by some brands like Lego and Adobe, I'm like, oh wait, like I think I could actually make a career out of this. And I kind of pivoted from being that professional athlete of a parasurfer, which is like how I won like my 3 world titles. And I think it's what really put me on the map. But like, it's really hard to make it as an athlete. So I thought, maybe content creation's for me. And people started to resonate with that, like you said. And I think I really show like authenticity rather than, we were talking about this literally right when we met. We go way back.
So far back.
Back to the parking lot.
And the great breakfast. We will talk about how great the breakfast was at our hotel.
Buffet. Like everything here in Abu Dhabi is absolutely next level.
It's so true. Everything it's extra in a good way.
Oh, for sure. But I think I really try and stay as authentic as possible. And I think that's what establishes a lot of trust with my audience and my community, because they back me, like that movement that I was talking about. I have a group of people backing my story. Yeah. And that really comes from showing the silly moments of my life, the hard moments and the top moments and the best moments of my life, like Bridge. And I think that really comes from just showing all sides of my life and being real, because I think people are sick of the creators that I think just do the picture perfect content and don't really go into like what the nitty gritty parts of life really are, and those like hardships and they just want real. And I feel like I give them that. Like, it's not polished.
I think you can be real, but it's also aspirational, right? Like, because like to me, like surfing is very difficult. So like that, I will watch that content and be like, that's aspirational for me to be able to do. Or running marathons, or cooking is also aspirational for me. So I think it is like relatable, but also something that people want to achieve. So you're giving them something not just inspirational, but aspirational.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great way of looking at it, because, and even if someone doesn't want to get up and ride a surfboard, maybe it encourages them to follow some type of dream that they've had in the back of their mind that they want to go after. I said in my speech, which I always kind of say when I talk about my story, is when I first started becoming a parasurfer, and I think after my first world title, like I'm like, oh my gosh, like this could actually like get me somewhere. And I heard this quote from one of the speeches I listened to, and very early in my career, and it's, someone told me not to bite off more than I could chew, but I'd rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity.
Oh, I love that.
And like I say that to like in my head a lot, like when I'm like, am I going after too much right now? Like, gosh, like I really have these massive dreams, and like even now, like I'm looking to the future, something, you know, even bigger. And especially after Bridge, you get like so much adrenaline and so many ideas.
Yes.
And so I think of that quote from 4 or 5 years ago that got me like those world titles, and it's like, no, I'm not biting off more than I can chew.
Oh, so what is next? So what are you inspired by here? What are some of the ideas that you kind of just alluded to for where you take your career and your content next?
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of dialed like the 30 to 60 second type of content, like those short forms, those like quick doses of my life. But I'd really want to show like my audience more and my community more of my life, like the day-to-day things. Like YouTube long form has been like such a battle for me, because it's so hard to break into, because you spend so much time doing it and you want like it to do well, but YouTube's just hard to break into. So I've been really like asking a lot of people around here, like who are already in with like YouTube and like really have like a good flow system, like how did you get there? And so like longer form content. And
what is longer form? Is that 5 minutes? Is it an hour?
Oh, I don't know about an hour. Okay. I don't know if I could edit all that. Maybe one day. But like between like 5 to 10, like just showing my audience a little bit like behind the scenes more, a bit more unfiltered than even my short form content.
Would you keep it like documentary style? So it's like a kind of like the day in the life, or do you think you'd start to build like arcs of like, here's what you want to accomplish? And I'm saying this because I'm coming from the film and TV world, where we're like, all right, what are we going to accomplish this season? Or what is our arc going to be with our characters, even if it's documentary?
Yeah. I think more documentary. Like I was listening to one of the speeches over here, and she said that think in your head, like what's your biggest, most aspirational goal? And I thought, and we're supposed to like write it down in our notes and then talk about it like later with someone here, because you never know who knows someone.
Right.
And so I said like, this is really long term, but I would love to do like a documentary series, like outside of just like YouTube longs, like actually showcase like traveling and surfing and cooking and like everything that encompasses like my life. So that would be like long term. And then in terms of like within the year or two, like building out my long form content, like those 5 to 10 minute videos, and definitely more documentary style, more like day in the lifestyle, but also like having themes of like trying new sports or trying a new recipe or something along those lines.
That's like, well, it's a good thing we met. I work in documentary and long form. So it's, and also if you're already doing some brand deals, brands are looking to work more with creators who built a following.
Absolutely.
And they're interested in long form as well, because it's more time with the brand. So I have to wrap up because they're going to take the studio away from us in a couple minutes. But before we go, anything you want to share with kind of our audiences, mostly the film industry, filmmakers in the U.S.? Anything else you want to share about your time here or the Bridge Summit?
Yeah, I think what I've learned is representation matters. And I believe I'm one of the only speakers with a disability. And I've just like taken that as like such an honor almost, right? To like represent the community of people with disabilities. And my content showcases my real and raw, authentic life of what it's like to live with a disability. And I would say like in filmmaking, like if you want to be more inclusive and you want to represent that kind of demographic of people, do a narrative that's inclusive and not like that pity that we talked about.
Yep, I completely agree. Cool. Liv Stone, what is your handle on Instagram?
Oh, it's just Liv Stone.
Easy to find. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Thanks. And I am now here with James Dowell, who is also here at the Bridge Conference, and which we have mutual friends, one of which we were just chatting with outside. So who are you here with, and what are you talking about at Bridge?
I am here with a handful of independent creators, musicians, people who make films, and I'm talking about what I'm launching later today, the Independent Media Collective. Which
Oh my God, you're on my schedule. Wait,
Am
this
I?
is so funny. I just learned about you, and I put you on my schedule because I really want to see what your announcement is.
Well, now
This
you're
is
gonna
so perfect.
You're getting the preview because I literally was writing it when I ran into our mutual friend Joe.
Give me the preview.
Well,
Yes.
so the preview is clearly the old way of making money through media companies, whether it's publishing, studios, networks, magazines, they don't exist anymore. And a lot of my creative friends who used to rely on those studio advances, book advances, journalism jobs, they're now being told that they have to figure out their own business. And
Yep.
while it's cute to think that all of these people could become solopreneurs and figure out sales and marketing and distribution and technology and all of these like really annoying, that's a whole department at a studio type jobs, they're being asked to figure it out on their own. And even if you're a great journalist or a great filmmaker, chances are you're probably not good at all of those other things.
Oh, you have to be, because it's like being a CEO of a startup and being able to code and do marketing and do leadership and HR. It's difficult.
Yeah.
And so now you're coming from the creative arts world where you study journalism or filmmaking or something more arts focused. And your school, if you went to a school, not that everyone has to, probably didn't teach you the marketing and distribution and sometimes not even the financing side of it.
Or if they taught it to you, like in my case, I went to school for music business in 2005. And
Different time.
Well, it was like the post age of Napster.
Right.
And they were teaching us how to like get records on, shelves at, Tower Records or a song on the radio.
Wow.
And so even if you go to school for these things, the internet's moving so quickly that what worked to distribute in previous ways or market or do all these things isn't even really relevant anymore. And so the point of the collective is to bring all of those independent platforms, managers, representatives, agents, and most importantly, the people making stuff into one space and just say, hey, I can't solve all these problems for you. I'm not trying to, but I know that you all can solve it together if you meet the right technology platform, the right management team, and really kind of combat some of the exploitation that existent studios, managers, IP owners tend to take when it comes to like managing or working with creative people.
So I'm very familiar with the independent film side of this. And so we work with a lot of filmmakers who have independently financed their films, used to take it to the market. The market's now not buying. There's even less buyers now with the consolidation that's happening. So what we're trying to do is provide community and training and education. But to your point, it's really difficult to be all those things, like to be the distributor and the marketer of your film. So we provide resources like the distribution playbook, this podcast. We share great resources like yours on there. So how does say it again, the Independent Media
Collective.
Thank you. I was about to say, so does it work like a collective? Are your members artists, musicians, filmmakers, journalists? Are they also practitioners, publicists? What does it look like, and how does someone actually utilize it?
So the answer is yes. It is all of those things. It's not just the creative people. It's also people like me who kind of sat on the business side, but out of a deep love and respect for the creativity that we were getting to monetize. And so it's not like a management firm. I'm not making anyone sign a contract. My goal is not to actually turn this into a company, but to more turn it into like a nonprofit type organization.
Great.
Mainly because I think we've capitalized content enough. And so it's not my goal to take any ownership over this stuff. It is really to just create the ecosystem that allows the independent part to thrive.
Great.
And so, yeah, the business model for me, still figuring that out. But like the sense I'm getting is that, creative people like to collaborate. It's actually not in our spirit to compete very much.
You're
and
right.
so, while I don't have the here's how I'm going to make money off of all of this, totally figured out, I've already found ways that, if you create value for other people in a collective, they will create value for you. And I've been saying to people, companies are built on contracts, collectives are built on trust. And so for me, it's about finding people who also want to be independent, want to create things, and then, are trustworthy people to actually create and do business with. And that's unfortunately few and far between these days.
No, I think that's totally right. Also, if you have your mission, you have your vision lined up, and now you'll figure out the monetization strategy and product market fit, all those fun tech words we like to use later, as long as you kind of got that mission in your sight lines. That sounds like, I hate using violence terms like guns, but you know what I mean. In your line of sight, there we go.
Well, I mean, a lot of the language of capitalism is violent. And so that's, where collective is, perhaps a little more socialist sounding than a lot of things, but like, I think you can have a collective that makes money for itself.
I think you can too. I still like to believe in conscious capitalism, that it can exist in some level.
100%.
But it is a fun exercise. We did this at a summit. We were studying community producing. So what does it mean to market and have reach communities online with your film? And we tried to do this exercise where can we use language that is not violent or capitalistic? And it was very difficult. We're saying, okay, we want to have impact. No, there's a different word than impact.
What about a campaign for your marketing?
Exactly. Like, is there anything else we can like?
Let's do a launch.
Let's do a launch. Exactly. This is my old school, and that was the bomb. Like it was, but like it felt like even shooting. Why are we saying when we're filming something? Why do we say shooting? I don't know where this language originated from, but it's actually really hard for us to unravel.
Well, and I think just even being conscious of the fact that like we're using language that is supposed to make us feel competitive with one another, when in fact the natural human urge when you're making something is to share that with someone who also sees the vision that you're trying to make. And so, it's contradictory to say that, you're a filmmaker or a journalist or whatever. I mean, competition with the people who are also doing my form. There may be, different angles of attack.
Yeah.
But like for the vast majority of what drives them to do what they do, it is a collaborative spirit. No one's doing this to get rich.
Yeah.
They're doing it because they want to express something to the world. And when you find out that other people also want to express similar things to the world, it gets really easy to be like, can we do this together? Let's hold hands.
I completely agree. Coming from the independent sector, we're looking at how do we respond to what's happening in Hollywood, big H Hollywood. And it's about collaboration. Same things. We're looking at all the different companies that might even seem as competitors in some way. And we're looking at how can we address this together? So then if we feed two birds with one scone, which is a new phrase we love.
Feed 'em.
So we got to hear a little bit about your collective. So what brought you to Bridge? Who brought you here? Why'd you come?
Great question. This is my third trip to the UAE. I first came for the World Government Summit when I was working with the website Futurism a couple of years ago. We had one of the largest Arabic language websites. We were basically translating all of Futurism's content into Arabic with the Dubai Future Foundation.
تتكلم اللغة العربية?
No or yes, depending on what you just said.
Okay.
So for us, it was really like, let's take all of it. It was the Dubai Future Foundation that really like said, we want to bring this science and tech education to the Arabic speaking world. Ooh. And then they invited us over to also kind of experience why they wanted to do this. So they took us to the Museum of the Future. They kind of showed us around. We actually came here to ADNOC, which at the time, it's the Abu Dhabi National Oil and Gas Company. At the time, I was very much like, green energy. Like, why are we going to an oil company? But then I spoke to, the people running the place, and they were like, you understand, in order to build electric cars, you need carbon fiber that actually cuts. So it's like, we don't need to burn the oil anymore, perhaps, but like, we do need to find ways to utilize this resource so that we don't need to burn oil anymore. Yep. And that was my first trip here. It blew my mind.
Wow.
I came back for the Billion Follower Summit last January. And every time I've come back, it's been almost shocking about how big the urge to collaborate is here. This feels like a crossroads of the Western world, the Eastern world, North, South, like in a way that New York, I think, felt when I first got there. I was like, oh, this feels like a melting pot of all these ideas and all of this innovation.
There's excitement. There's excitement about what can happen. There's consciousness about what we're building and an idea that we can do it better together.
100%. And, even it moves so quickly. When I was here earlier this year, everything was, we're so excited about AI and, and now at Bridge, like the conversation is measured and tempered and, well, AI is a tool like anything else. Is it good or bad? It depends how you deploy it. And that level of nuance has not really kind of come to the forefront in the US yet, largely because we don't have that same crossroad kind of energy anymore to, claim it. And so for me, I was invited here by a woman named Rachel Masters, who is a real creator economy connector. And, we had met a couple years ago, and she's someone who really believes in the concept of like bridging cultures, businesses, political, economic, all the things. And when she started explaining this to me, I said, I will do anything to be there. Like, let me be a part of it. And graciously, they invited me to speak. And then as my own, collective thing came about, I was basically like,
this is the place to announce it.
I have to.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm really glad we met just now outside this podcast studio because I'm coming here to talk later. I'm very excited.
I can't. Now I have to go write it. But I can't
it's
wait
going to be
have
amazing
you.
so far based on what I've heard.
The idea is there.
James Dell, thank you so much. How do people find you online?
You could find me at independentmediacollective.org or James_Dell on Instagram.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time here.
Thanks for having me.
And that's our episode. Thank you to our special guest, our producer and editor, Ron Pissarro, and you, the filmmakers, creators, marketers, and distributors that are dedicated to connecting audiences with great films.